What's up guys, my name is Ivan Valdovinos, and on this channel I provide tips, tricks, advice, and strategies for your graduate school applications. So if you are new here, consider subscribing. When I was applying to graduate school, I followed a strict month-to-month guide that helped me craft the most competitive application packages for graduate school. So starting with the month of December, I am going to provide you with a checklist of items that you need to look at before you hit submit on those graduate school applications. The first item on this checklist is to make sure you check that your recommenders submitted their letters. This is important because the admissions committee will not review your application if they don't receive usually 3 letters of recommendation. So you want to make sure that your letter writers have submitted their letters of rec, or at least it's in their mind. At this point, we're in December, so most applications are due in December or January, and so you want to make sure that these letters of rec writers know that, because it's crucial that they submit their support letter. One of the things that you should be doing at this point is sending those reminder emails. So I suggest that you submit an email now, and then you submit 1-2 weeks before the applications are due, and then another follow-up email 1 week before, and then a couple days before the actual deadline. In my own experience, I have noticed that most professors in particular wait till the last minute to submit these letters of rec. So I would just keep reminding them, because they do like reminders. They're probably receiving a lot of requests for letters of rec. So you want to make sure that they are reminded that yours are due soon. And so keep checking in with them, making sure that they know that you are in need of these letters on a certain date. In your email, make sure that you provide that date, but that you also provide your target submission date. So for example, if the applications are due December 15th and you're submitting let's say December 11th, you want to make sure that you tell them, like, I'm going to submit my applications on December 11th, but the actual deadline is December 15th. Could you try to submit when I submit? That way they're held accountable, and you're putting pressure on them to submit their letters on your time frame, not theirs. The next thing that you need to do before you submit your applications is revise your statement of purpose and/or personal statements. At this point, the content should be already fine-tuned, and so what you want to do now is just make sure that there's no misspellings, there's no grammar errors, things like that. So one of the great ways to do this is by giving it to your older sibling or your parents or a friend that can check for those grammar errors, the word choice, things like that, things that you can revise easily, and have them look at that versus the content. The content at this point should be fine-tuned. You should have already submitted these letters for revision to your professors, your mentors, your advisors, because they're going to be the ones that are going to be helpful with the content, not the grammar errors. So at this point, make sure that your friends are reading your statement of purposes, checking to see if you have any errors, grammar errors in particular, but also to make sure that you answer the prompt. One of the things that the committee members are going to want to know is that you can follow instructions and directions. So one of the ways to do this, to show them that you are doing this, is by answering the prompt directly. So ask your friend, your sibling, whoever it is, to make sure that they check to see if you answered the prompt. The next item on this checklist is to review your entire application to make sure that you didn't make any mistakes or that you didn't put accurate information. So go into your application, look to see if your name is spelled correctly, look to see if you put the correct address, things like that. On the application itself, there's also other sections like the work experience section. They sometimes ask you about your research experience, your publications, your jobs, and so you want to make sure you fill out as much items as possible, because this is your initial interview. So the admissions committee are only going to see this package that you're submitting initially. And so you want to make sure that they know as much as they can about you. And by filling out most of the sections on the actual application, that's going to tell the full story of who you are, what are your experiences, and where you come from. And so you want to make sure that you want to fill out every little aspect of this application if it relates to you. So make sure that you go in there and make sure that you fill out as much as you can, because this is your initial interview. In my opinion, the application, what you put in it, could make or break you. As they're going to be reading, the admissions committee is going to be reading a bunch of applications, and so you want to make sure you stand out. And one of the ways to do that is by filling out every aspect of the application. So if you do have publications, put those in the initial application. If you have work experience, mention every work experience, even your work study jobs, your internships. It doesn't have to be full-time work. If you had conference presentations, mention that in this application. Even if you're going to mention it in your resume or CV, that's fine. Do it in both sections. You want to make sure that they notice this on your application package. My final item on this checklist for December is to make sure that you know how you're going to pay for the application fee. So as you might already know, every graduate school program requires a fee for you to apply for their school, an application fee. And so there's a couple of ways in which you can pay for your application. One of them is through a debit or credit card. Another sometimes is through like money order, and then you mail it to the admissions office. And then the last one is to apply for and submit a fee waiver. So if you're at the point where you're ready to submit, I would suggest that first you look at fee waivers and see if you qualify, because who doesn't want free money to pay for these application fees? It does save you a lot of money, especially if you're applying to a bunch of schools. I know when I was applying, I applied to 10 schools, and each application was about like $60 to $100. And so I was grateful that I qualified for fee waivers, and so I submitted my paperwork that goes along with these fee waivers. So if you do qualify, make sure that you are submitting and requesting this fee waiver in a timely fashion, because once the application deadline hits, you're not going to be able to request this fee waiver and turn in the required documentation. Usually the required documentation is, most of these fee waivers, they provide them for, need-based fee waivers. So you have to provide, records of your financial situation, whether that is like in the United States, it's our tax returns and things like that, our financial aid application. And so these are items that they're going to ask for before they can issue you a fee waiver. So make sure that you know how you're going to pay for your fees and start thinking about compiling that information. If it's going to be a credit card, make sure you know your credit card number and your address where that's linked to your credit card. If it's going to be a fee waiver, make sure that you have requested that fee waiver and that you have the documentation to support your need. If it's going to be a money order that you're going to mail in, make sure that you have that money ordered up in hand and ready for submission so they can get it before the application deadline. So I want to make sure that you are ready to submit your applications, because it is that time of the season, and these tips for December are going to help you with fine-tuning your applications and hitting that submit button. All right, so this is the end of my month-to-month guide for graduate school applications for the month of December. Moving forward, I do plan to film at least one video on a checklist for every month of the year. That way you know what to work on during that month to help you prepare a competitive application. Because right now we're at the end of application season, I am providing more detailed last minute things to consider before you hit submit. In the next couple of months, I'm going to talk about next steps, what happens after you submit, and then after that, what happens after you get accepted, what does the application, what does your financial aid package look like, and I'll be describing that in the next couple of monthly guides. So I hope you gained value from this video here. If you did, please give it a like and subscribe. I already reached my goal of 100 subscribers, so thank you all for subscribing to my channel. My next goal is reaching 500 subscribers, so I'm hoping that I do start, building a community, because I do really want to help you succeed in your educational pursuits as they relate to graduate school. So I will see you in the next video, and I hope you have a great holiday.